recognize your achievements. We put out an Instagram post for the day, and maybe you only get a little bit of engagement. But that engagement, those two people that watched, the one person that watched, it could have changed their day. That energy spread into their family, which means that their kids are going to go to school the next day and be nicer to the other kids at school, which means that the teacher has a better day, so when you think about this really small achievements that you have every single day and you understand the ripple effect, taking action and getting through the hard stuff becomes easier. So in a world of people saying hustle, 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 grind, 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 like take a beat, take a breath, and recognize how much you already are doing. It's a nicer place to grow from.
Welcome to the Abundant Coach podcast. This is episode 92 with your host today. My name is Jennifer Joy Jimenez. I'm one of the co-founders here at Brave Thinking Institute and one of the faculty members in our coach certification division. It is my honor and pleasure to bring you today an amazing expert. Her name is Jasmine Jonte. She's bringing you today next level strategies to make your course as binge-worthy as Netflix. Now, whether or not you have your own course that you have created or you want to either redo that course or bring forth your gifts, your talents, your knowledge into a program that not only helps you thrive financially, but you're able to make a massive difference in the lives of others, that's what we're going to be talking to you about today. We're going to be talking about what not to do, the common mistakes so that you don't make them, and ultimately what you can do that is going to bring forth your gifts and talents on that next level. But I'd like to bring to you Jasmine. Jasmine, I'm going to share her bio here in just a moment, but thank you so much for being here and bringing your genius to this podcast.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. So Jasmine Jonte is a sought-after expert in course creation and online learning, known for transforming expertise into engaging, revenue-generating programs. She's worked with mission-driven individuals and companies like Candy Valentino, Nick Bradley, and Success Enterprises. Starting from an award-winning teaching career in Detroit's lowest-performing schools, she now helps professionals streamline course creation through her course flow to cash flow process. So I want to talk to you a little bit. I love the fact that you come from education and in Detroit schools, and I'm super curious how starting there launched you into this field. What was it about that work in Detroit in schools that inspired you to do what you do today?
When you're a teacher, especially in a space like that, in a community like that, it's really important that you learn how to make learning simple, easy, and fun so that your students can be successful. You know, we were on a mission to help our students grow a year and a half worth of learning in 1 year. And that was tested across math and English because I taught kindergarten and first grade. And my kids grew 1.75 to 2 years of, quote, learning in a year with me.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's really incredible. It's also a testament to the kids, because I was the teacher, and it was my job to make the work easy to do, but it was their job to actually do the work, right? And so that translates into online learning as coaches and experts. It's like our students' job to do the work. It's our client's job to do the work, but it's our job as the teacher, as the guide, to make that work easy to do. So there's so much I learned there that I take into what I do every single day. One of it is just teaching, and then the other is resilience, because it was a tough assignment to be given, and I'm grateful that the universe chose me to do it. Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. And I think the big key there that I heard you say was fun.
Mhm.
And I know particularly at our institute where we're building big dreams, we're taking people's lives and completely transforming them or helping them build highly successful coaching businesses, it can feel like serious work. Shifting paradigms, limiting beliefs, healing trauma, clearing inner blocks. I know it can, like it's very serious. It's a very adult thing to do. And I, particularly coming from a dance background, and I bring movement and play into the things that I do in the health and well-being division. I run a multi-million-dollar division within the larger, scope of what we do, using signature programs, which we're talking about here today, but infusing fun and play, which I think is so important. And when clients find out, oh, I could actually dance my way healthy. Like this doesn't have to just be all pulling weeds and difficult. It really is a breath of fresh air. So I'm super curious about how you make things fun. But before we go into that, what are some of the biggest mistakes? Like, what do change agents, mission driven souls that want to make a difference and do like a course, what's like some of their biggest mistakes that we want to help people not make?
There's a few, and after auditing, I don't even know how many programs at this point. Like I've seen programs with from entrepreneurs and creators and coaches who's just their one man shop. Maybe they have a VA, but it's really them doing everything, to multi-million dollar companies in the thought leader space. And there's a few mistakes that no matter where you're at, you might be making. Which the first one is over indexing on how much you think your students want to learn what you have to teach. So, as a master of your craft, you have read every book, you have unearthed every opportunity to learn more. And most people in your program, they don't want that level of mastery. They're coming for a result. So, it's in their best service when we don't add everything we know, but just what they need to know to get the result. So that's thing one. And I'll give you one more, which is not making what you are teaching them actionable. So just giving them theory without a practical application and telling them very directly, here's what you need to go do next. And when you're telling them to go do it, you also want to show them what the definition of done is. Like, how do they know they're done? And then what's the standard of success? So how do they know that they've not just completed it, but completed it successfully?
That's nice.
So yeah, so kind of both of these things, they pair really well. It's first just understanding that they don't really care that much what you have to teach them. They just want the result. And when you are teaching them, make sure it's really actionable so they can actually go and get those results that they came for.
Exactly. I love the piece also around what does success look like? Because I feel like most people that I coach, particularly women, I work with a lot of, 35 to 75-year-old, kind of that mid-age clientele, they are their worst critics. They're highly, usually like type A driven women who hold themselves to such a high bar that when I do get an opportunity to have some one-on-one time, like let's say in a coaching or, group Q&A session, and they're talking about things, and then I ask a few deeper questions, I'm like, what do you mean? That was amazing. Like, let yourself have a win. So I love the idea of, talking about here's what success looks like. And here's what often I could even go as far as to say, here's what then might happen. You do X, and now the inner critic or that perfectionistic part of you is going to rise up, and it's going to tell you didn't do it well enough, and that wasn't the result Jennifer mentioned. You know what I mean? But like giving them the parameters around here's a win, and here's why actually giving yourself the win is not just 50% of this, but it really is 100% of it, is to take a bold imperfect action, massive imperfect action, but then give yourself that win and define that. I think I could definitely do a better job of that in my program. So thank you for adding that in. That's super helpful. And the other one of just not over teaching, that's one I can certainly do better. And I think we've done a really good job of that in our proven curriculum. For anyone listening who doesn't know, as Brave Thinking Institute, we do certify and train coaches. We have done for you programs that we've invested over 50 years studying the proven and tested dream building system, how to take someone's idea and thought and what they would love to create into the land of their real lived experience, whether it be a health goal, a love goal, a vocational goal, whatever that is. And we have 5 signature custom programs. And I'm really grateful to these because when I first started coaching before these existed, I did well, and I definitely could see my clients getting results. But when I added in a tested and proven transformational curriculum that had just the right amount of teaching, just the right amount of action that had already been tested with thousands of people, I didn't have to reinvent the wheel. I could just sprinkle in my love, my belief, and my energy, but I didn't have to do all of that. Later down the line, I ended up creating, taking that proven system and embedding it into more custom material specifically for women in health, which is what I do today. But to have that framework was so, there's no question that it removed decades of learning, from my experience. So I'm super grateful to be standing on the shoulders of giants, and so do, of course, the thousands of coaches that come through our institute. But I want to talk about your course flow to cash flow process. I know it's your own custom system. So talk to us why it's important to have a framework or a system that people follow, and then teach us your system. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, thanks. Great question. So I like to think of the knowledge in your brain like a filing cabinet, right? And you have all of these files of experience and learnings from programs you've been a part of and, books you've read. You have like 100 files in there, right? And the goal of a program is to take those 100 files, find the 10 that 80% of the clients who enroll in your program would need, and then putting them in the correct order and sequence. Now, what's really interesting is the order and sequence that you took to get your transformation may not be the order and sequence that is the fastest for your client, because if you're like most, when you're trying to do something for the first time, you make a lot of mistakes. You got to double back on your path. There's like places you got to do a U-turn here. And so what a framework does is it plants your flag for what you think are those 10 files or 7 or however many they are. And what is the right order and sequence for someone else to implement to get the result that you've had in your life. I think of it sometimes like Thanksgiving dinner. Like, have you ever cooked Thanksgiving? And
Of
you're
course.
like, okay, yeah. And so it's not like, did I forget the cranberry sauce that'll make dinner 3 hours late? It's the fact that you put the turkey in too late, or the stuffing didn't go in on time, or whatever, what have you. So really, like, taking a minute to think about the order and sequence is what a framework is all about. And that's what our course flow to cash flow process is. It's our framework. It's the order and sequence that we've found is the best suited to kick over the dominoes that you need to kick over in order to build a program. So for us, there's 5 parts. The first one is evaluate, which is when you look at the assets that you already have. A lot of people, like, you have stuff, like, do you have blog posts, do you have podcast episodes, do you have, a book that you've written? Like, what assets do you have that you can leverage when you're building your program? Step 2 is architect, which is when you map out your course outline and your framework. So to get meta on you, right? Like, the course flow to cash flow process is our framework. So that's step 2. Step 3 is when you build it. So you write your video scripts, you build your slides, your workbooks, all of the things that you need to actually put into the curriculum. And then next part is video. So you video edit anything that you need to do. And then finally uploading it, which is putting it into a portal. So very high level, sounds very, very, very simple. But when you take each of those things and you break them down even further, it's just one big rung of dependencies when you're making a course. And so, that's part of it, is just knowing, all right, like, this is a big project. And as soon as you break that down into those smaller steps, that's what makes it achievable in the first place.
Nice. I love it. And what I love is that you have a done for you and a done with you set of programs. So that was very impressive that I learned. And for anybody that's like, I don't know, what's the 10? I can't decide.
Yeah.
Like that's where I lived for many years, and I've done over, 15 different programs over many, many years. And it is challenging to know it's like your baby, to sort of, we call it killing your babies. I know that's a morbid term, but it is, because it feels like, but this one is so important. I can't not
Yeah.
put this in,
Mhm.
So you have to have
Mhm.
somebody outside of you, in my opinion, to really, support that process. And so I love the done for you. If I believe you interview the expert and help them kind of put all the cards on the table, so to speak, and then support them in putting it all together. So that's amazing, because I know if the listener is anything like me, you got a busy life, you got a lot of plates in the air. Probably one of the reasons you haven't done it yet is just because of just it feels like a mountain to climb, and you don't have maybe all the knowledge or the equipment. You've never climbed it before, and it is. And so having support of your team, Jasmine, I think would be an absolute no-brainer, so amazing. I love that. I love that. And so a couple more questions. One question I love to ask right now, especially with just AI is such a buzzword, right? And there are ways that we can harness this incredible tool. I have harnessed it in my own, program recreation, having done programs once, wanting to do like that, kind of that facelift on a program. But how is your team, and how do you recommend someone really harness AI in this future of learning, and how has it evolved, and how can this really help coaches stay ahead of the curve?
Well, first, it can help you actually output your course faster. So, at the end of the day, like AI, you have to know how to ask it powerful questions, which your people, I'm sure, are really great at, right? Because they have the skill of coaching. But you got to know how to ask it the powerful questions so that you can get a good result, because AI is trained on the internet, and the average course completion rate is 3%. So when you're just working with AI, well, you're working with what's been put out there that's generating a 3% result. So you have to really like consider the questions that you're asking it to create your course and get it done. And that's, we have tons of internal tools. All of our done with you clients, they get access to our tools that's trained on just our stuff, not the internet. But also, like, I think there's a huge opportunity to create tools for your clients, like as a part of your program. So,
Mhm.
for example, I know you love meditations and visualizations. What if you could create an AI tool that generates a custom visualization for every single student that goes through your program in your voice without you having to do any of it? Like, that's the
Amazing.
power of AI. So it's not so much about, yes, it's about implementing the things we already need to do, but it's about it's, I think, it's more about personalization through automation. Because that, I mean, can you imagine if you got hundreds of people in your program? Like, there's no way without a gargantuan team effort that you
No.
could produce that.
Yeah,
But
I wouldn't promise that. But
exactly.
now, to your point, you can create, I imagine, something where they type something in saying, here's what I want to do and create and whatever. They
Mhm.
hit the go button. The AI generates, to your point, a custom meditation with music, with Jennifer's voice, specifically for them. And that could be amplified by hundreds or if not thousands of people. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So just think about anything that you're asking them to do. How can you make that go faster? And or how can you personalize that? So if you're already asking them to do visualizations, well, this is just a personalized version. Let's say you're asking them to make a vision board. Well, how can you leverage AI to help them make their vision board faster? Right?
Love it.
Yeah, so much potential. I think that right now, if you're implementing those kinds of tools for your students, you're ahead of the curve. I think 18 to 24 months, it's going to be table stakes. Like, everybody's going to be doing it, and if you're not doing it, you're behind. So, you know,
It's
it's,
important. Yeah.
business is just priorities, but if you do have team or energy to invest in that sort of thing, could be really awesome for you.
Yes. Now, what if I'm hearing, a potential question that might rise up is I already have a program.
Yeah.
What, Jasmine, can you help me like just just optimize it, implement some of these AI tools, make it more fun or gamified if it's already there? Is that something you do?
Yeah, and you'll be surprised. Like most of the audits I do from people who are in the coach space are pretty good already. Like people really, if you identify as someone who's a coach, like you really are in this for helping, like you're a helping professional. So the
Mm-hmm.
programs are usually pretty good. Then my most common when we're doing program audits and then optimizing and tweaking, revamping programs, I'll actually cut content a fair bit. We'll upgrade
Yeah.
some content and then do some additions like AI tools or tech migrations. Like if the UX for their platform is really not good, we'll migrate and then also like implementing some of the support structures around the curriculum, things like re-engagement campaigns or like updating the onboarding flow, personalizing and like a facilitated experience or like virtual peer networking. I mean, it can look like a lot of different things, but really, how do we create this into a deeper, richer experience for the sake of transformation on a deeper, richer level?
Exactly. So good. Love that. That's amazing. Okay, check. Love it. Um, what about fun? How do you make programs fun? I know gamification has been a thing. We do that in our programs, and I'm super curious. What are you seeing? Like, what's trending, and how does AI help us also with that?
I think gamification is great. Like, I love it. It usually, to me, is a secondary priority to like solid instructional design. Because if you're not teaching well, but you're just throwing a bunch of bells and whistles on there, it's kind of like it reminds me of those. Have you seen those party go karts around cities? And they're all pedaling on the bike. It's kind of like that. It's like you're having fun going somewhere, but you're not going very fast.
Yeah.
That's what happens when we do gamification and don't have solid instructional design behind it. But I really love edutainment, and I love infusing the energy of the expert, the coach, into the program. So, what are your favorite TV shows? How can we, instead of talking about whatever the content is, can we demonstrate it using a clip from your favorite TV shows? Are there memes that we can leverage? Are there fun like quirky personality things that we can infuse? Like, are there inside jokes? I mean, it seems so simple, but that's what has people coming back for more and feeling like they're part of a community, or those like identifiers and inside jokes. So, really simple tip, but it's very actionable for anyone. Like anyone, you can go find a clip, you can go add a meme. And what's great is AI will find the clips for you now. I recently did one.
Nice. I
It was
love
a
that idea.
confidence course, and she mentioned like three different TV shows she liked, and we wanted to showcase. I think it was confident posture, so we pulled like a clip from Superwoman with, or no, what is it called? Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot, and like we pulled all of these iconic moments of women being confident, and it
Mm.
was more fun, and they remembered it
Yes. Yes.
because it's attaching to prior knowledge. Most women have seen Wonder Woman. So again, simple tip, but like don't discredit it because it's simple.
So good. So good. Well, I feel like this could definitely be a to be continued, but for the time being, this is a good place for us to transition. If you have one final message of like, if there's one main tip or just one empowering message around these beautiful listeners getting their message out into the world, what would that be? And then how can we learn more about you and what you do?
The tip that's coming to mind right now is to recognize your achievements, because I think that we'll put out, for instance, we put out an Instagram post for the day, and maybe you only get a little bit of engagement, but that engagement, those two people that watched, the one person that watched, it could have changed their day, which means that that energy spread into their family, which means that their kids are going to go to school the next day and be nicer to the other kids at school, which means that the teacher has a better day, so when you think about this really small achievements that you have every single day and you understand the ripple effect of those, taking action and getting through the hard stuff becomes easier. So in a world of
Yeah.
people saying hustle, 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 grind, 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 like take a beat, take a breath, and recognize how much you already are doing. It's a nicer place to grow from.
Love that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you can learn from me. I'm on Instagram, Jasmine Jonte. And then our website is www.creation.co, and that's spelled CRE8TION.co. And the 8 is in there to represent infinite cash flow. 8 is also the number for abundance. So kind of annoying to spell, but we like it.
I think it's great. I think it's great. And just so those that don't know how to spell her name, it's JASMINEJONTE if you want to find her on Instagram. And you have a gift for everybody that we're going to also post here on the episode, which is 10 next level strategies to make your courses binge worthy as Netflix. And there is a link to that so you can download that and learn more, and certainly reach out to her if you have a course in you and you would love to not just have it be something that dies when you die, but you would love to bring forth your voice, your difference making. I highly recommend it. It's really truly been one of the greatest. I love my babies and they're top of the list, but my next level babies really are the courses and programs that I've brought into the world. And I see so many people having amazing results because I had the courage and the fortitude to actually put my voice out into the world. So I highly recommend, if anybody's feeling, that they have something inside of them, to go for it. And if you feel like you would love to make a difference in the world and you would just love to adopt curriculum and content that's done for you, we have invested the tens of thousands, it's really hundreds of thousands of dollars, and over 50 years in training on transformation. And just because you adopt our programs doesn't mean that you can't also still bring your programs to life. What I love about what we do for coaches here at Brave Thinking Institute is we empower you with the tools to get going so you can start making money now, so you can start making a difference now, so that you can be coaching and launching and doing that. And then over time, many of our coaches do their custom programs, but they're already making money. They don't have to wait until the program's done. So it can be a both and as well. You can visit bravethinkinginstitute.com. if you're interested in that. Please like this episode. Please share it with at least one other person. Subscribe for future episodes, and we hope to hear you and see you again very soon. And thank you, Jasmine, for being here. You've been an absolute joy.
Thanks for having me.
If you enjoyed this video, please click the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you never miss a new upload. You can help our channel continue to grow as we invest in creating more great content for coaches. Lastly, check the description below for helpful links to the resources mentioned in this video. Thank you and have an amazing day.